He has lung cancer, poor guy. He looked like he was in his early 60s, something like that. Maybe late 50s, but I think more likely early 60s. He's originally from Louisiana, so he had that southern accent, and he used to race horses. And this guy is quite notable within the horse racing industry. Like he knew some of the top horse racers or whatever, and all that. It was interesting stories to hear. So we had a good conversation with him, and like we got to see his neat horses that used to be race horses, and and they're worth a lot of money. And yeah, so he said he's just been making money off of like renting out land like that. And he's just been like living off that and past money he's made, and is just gonna do it till he dies, you know. Poor guy has lung cancer though. God bless him. And so what happened was, yeah, we did that. And she got a good price because it's like he's a nice, generous guy. And also because it's like in New Hampshire, things can cost cheaper. Because if she were to get it somewhere closer to her in Massachusetts, it would cost a lot. So she wanted the cheapest available price. So, anyways, we ended up leaving eventually. We were there for a couple hours. And then we headed to her house. I was going to drop her off, but on the way there, she decided to talk to a guy on speakerphone that's from Wyoming. I think he's originally from California, from what I understood. But he has like that middle of nowhere accent, you know? So yeah, it was an interesting experience what happened in regards to the phone call. He, I think, is in his late 20s, something like that, and was talking about his whole experience in Wyoming, on how stuff there is so cheap, the rent is so cheap, the gas, how to get your license is a lot easier there than like states such as Massachusetts or whatever. Job opportunities in Wyoming is best in Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is the capital of Wyoming, which is where he's at. But he said that Denver, Colorado is literally only an hour away. And I did look that up after, and that is true. Like I looked up, I did all the research after. Everything he was saying was true. So like Denver, Colorado obviously has a lot more opportunities, and an hour away is not bad at all. Yeah, like what this girl with me was saying was, oh yeah, come on, we need to do this. Like, come on, like please move with me over to Wyoming, blah blah blah. Because like the guy from Wyoming was saying, like he would show us around, he would he'd let us know all the ropes. You know what I mean? The ropes around the lifestyle, like what to do, and like show us around and like all that kind of stuff, all that advice about all that, and like rent there, like for like an apartment that would cost here in Massachusetts like 1,200, which is like the cheapest you can get. You know what I mean? Over there, you can get that kind of apartment for like $400 a month. So that would mean if it was just her and I in one apartment, it would be $200 a month. But obviously, the pay is going to be less over there compared to here. But he was saying that if you have a degree, even if it's an associate's degree over there, you're automatically a whole level up compared to the other people there. He was saying how if you're coming from the West Coast or the East Coast, you have a lot higher chances in getting jobs and everything because you're automatically a lot more fast paced than those people there in Wyoming and those in some of those surrounding states, you know? Which when I was thinking about it, it's true. And then also, so this girl with me, she has an associate's. I have a bachelor's degree. And yeah, so just in those scenarios, and also considering we're from the East Coast, it's all real good benefits, right? And so at first, when she said it, like that first immediate moment, like, oh yeah, we should move, we should go there, blah, blah, just to see how it is, blah, blah, blah. I was thinking it was ridiculous in a lot of ways. Like, but then I was thinking to myself, that would actually be quite an interesting experience. It's only an hour away from Denver. It's like it would be like I've never lived outside of Massachusetts, so I've traveled outside the country. I've traveled in different parts of the U.S., but I never lived outside of Massachusetts. So that would be a very unique, interesting experience. And I was saying to her, yeah, like we could even do that, and we could even try it for a few months, half a year, or a year longer, or whatever, just to see how it is. Like, when are we ever gonna have this kind of life experience? And whenever you hear about young professionals or young people nowadays in the US, they typically move to like San Francisco, LA, New York City, Miami, Boston, any sort of big stereotypical city, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, you know what I mean? Just any sort of stereotypical situation. You don't hear about people moving to Wyoming, you know? And so it would just be a very unique, interesting situation. But then over time, I started to think about it more and like think about, is it really worth it? Blah blah, this that, and also considering this girl is quite impulsive. This could be just all a whole impulsive kind of uh, decision making she's making, and she won't follow through with it, and or she'll follow through with it, then suddenly want to do something else, or maybe get angry at me instantly when we move there or whatever. You know what I mean? It just does not seem like a viable, stable situation at all. If it was with a person who was, no offense to her, remotely stable, then it would be more something to think about. But considering that, not really. And also at the moment, one of my jobs is a stable, good situation. It's only part time, but I would like to keep it for quite a while, considering it got me into my field. I'm into graphic design, video production, and photography, and I do all that kind of stuff within my job. And because I have my foot in the door and I graduated college not too long ago, I want to stick with this job for a while so then it sticks on my resume well. And then also, I did research if there's any graphic design, video production, or photography jobs in Cheyenne, Wyoming, or around there. There is literally only, or no, there's zero in graphic design and video production. And I looked at social media too. Zero. And then for photography, there were a few, like, there were like, I think 10, 5 to 15, something like that, of freelance photography jobs. But it wasn't like one time freelance, but it would be like freelance, like every weekend, something like that. It just did not seem like a stable, good situation, though. But Denver is only an hour away. I looked into that, and there are a decent amount of opportunities in graphic design and video production there, so that wouldn't be bad. But then that made me think like I might as well move to Denver, so or some other part of Colorado instead of traveling literally an hour away. But then again, an hour isn't bad, and the rent and everything else in Wyoming is so cheap, and it would be quite peaceful there. But overall, I just thought it was a thing. I'm just gonna brush off and just not bother doing that. Uh, Maybe if I happen to be a YouTuber, well, meaning like if I happen to be some sort of successful online presence where I'm able to move kind of wherever I want, I would love to move there for a little while to see how it is. But another part that I realized that it wouldn't be a stable situation for the future to do that is when when I was about to drop her off, I wanted a goodbye kiss, and she was like, yeah, she was like, "Oh, I'm not giving you a goodbye kiss unless you date me, like unless you're my boyfriend, like unless we become boyfriend and girlfriend right now." And I thought she was joking, but I probably shouldn't have assumed she was joking, considering she has borderline personality disorder. And it turned out she was not joking. So I was like, "Oh, come on, give me a kiss." And she was like, "No, only if you're my boyfriend now. Are you my boyfriend?" And I was like, "Oh no, like I'm not ready for a relationship. Blah 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 blah. We only know each other for a little." And then she's like, "Only if you're my boyfriend." And yeah, so she ended up leaving without a kiss, and it was an awkward goodbye because she expected I was gonna become her boyfriend then and there. And I dealt with crazy girls before where they would put me in a situation and like kind of forcibly, or like checkmating me or persuading me into getting in a relationship with them, even though I would know them literally for 2 weeks or less in person. So, yeah, that was literally the second time of me ever knowing her in person, so it was quite strange how she did that. And then also later that night, she was like, "I need to move out of my house. I can't stand my like guardians or whatever. And do you have like $300 you can lend me? I can pay you back tomorrow." Blah 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 blah. She was going to impulsively go on a train from Worcester all the way to Denver, Colorado, I believe. And that the guy she was talking to earlier on the phone would pick her up from there. But then she ended up realizing and thought more clearly that she can't afford that. And that she should do the plan she was going to do is save up money for the next few months or so. And then maybe go do that plan of moving to Cheyenne. So she ended up the next day taking a step back and doing that instead of impulsively moving over there. So now she's just been working these days, saving up or whatever. And that's that. But that was a very interesting situation. And yeah, so I wanted to share that with you. This is some girl that used to be homeless and has had an interesting life and continues to in regards to her impulsivity and everything. So she's cool. She's nice. Just a little too impulsive, you know. But thank you for listening. Like and subscribe. Check out my other stories. I've had a lot of interesting stuff happen in my life. All right. Bye-bye.